Most people think low intelligence is about IQ, but in reality, it's revealed through small daily habits most people ignore. And some of these habits are hiding in plain sight. Number 7, reacting before thinking. One of the quietest signs of low intelligence is reacting too quickly. You say something simple, and the person immediately gets defensive. They raise their voice. They argue. They respond emotionally before they even understand the situation. At first glance, this looks like passion. It looks like confidence. But in reality, it's poor mental control. Intelligent people create a small gap between stimulus and response. They pause. They analyze. They think before they speak. That pause is powerful. Because most mistakes in life don't come from lack of knowledge. They come from impulsive reactions. You see this in arguments, in workplaces, in relationships. Someone hears criticism and instantly fights back without asking a single question, and later they regret it. They realize they misunderstood the situation, but by then, the damage is already done. Low intelligence isn't about not knowing. It's about not slowing down. And here's the hidden danger. When a person constantly reacts instead of thinking, they train their brain to operate on emotion instead of logic. Over time, this habit weakens judgment. It leads to poor decisions, broken relationships, missed opportunities, and the worst part, most people don't even notice they're doing it. But the next habit is even more common, and it quietly destroys growth without making any noise. Number 6, refusing to admit mistakes. There is a moment in life that separates intelligent people from everyone else. It's the moment when they realize they were wrong. Some people handle that moment with maturity. They say, "You're right. I made a mistake. I'll fix it." But others do something very different. They deny, they argue, they twist the story, they protect their ego at all costs. And this is where intelligence quietly breaks down. Because admitting mistakes requires self-awareness. It requires emotional strength. And most importantly, it requires humility. Highly intelligent people understand one simple truth. Being wrong is not dangerous. Staying wrong is. But people who refuse to admit mistakes stop learning. They repeat the same errors again and again. Same bad decisions, same failed outcomes, same frustrations. Years go by, and nothing improves. You see this with coworkers who blame others, friends who never apologize, leaders who never take responsibility. They don't grow because their ego blocks the door to progress. And here's something fascinating. Research in psychology shows that intelligent people often change their opinions when presented with better evidence. They adapt, they update, they evolve. But low intelligence clings to pride, even when the truth is obvious. And the next habit is even more dangerous because it doesn't just stop growth. It slowly kills curiosity itself. Number 5, avoiding difficult thinking. This is one of the most overlooked signs of low intelligence. Not lack of knowledge, not lack of education, but avoidance of thinking. You give someone a complex problem, and they immediately look for the easiest answer. They don't analyze. They don't question. They don't explore deeper possibilities. They just accept the first explanation that sounds comfortable. Because thinking deeply requires effort, and effort requires discipline. Highly intelligent people are willing to sit with discomfort. They wrestle with difficult questions. They tolerate confusion for a while. They understand that clarity comes after struggle. But people who avoid difficult thinking choose convenience over truth. You see this in everyday life. They believe rumors without checking facts. They follow opinions without evidence. They repeat what others say without understanding it, and slowly their mind becomes passive. Instead of solving problems, they wait for others to tell them what to think. Instead of analyzing situations, they react to headlines, trends, noise. Over time, this habit creates a dangerous pattern. Life becomes harder, decisions become riskier, mistakes become more frequent. Not because the person is incapable, but because they stopped using their brain fully. And surprisingly, the next habit looks completely normal on the surface. Most people do it every day, but it quietly reveals something much deeper about how the mind works. Number 4, talking more than listening. One of the clearest signs of low intelligence is the need to always be heard. Some people dominate every conversation. They talk over others. They repeat their opinions again and again, and they rarely pause to truly listen. To them, speaking feels like power, but real intelligence often shows up in silence. Because listening is not passive. Listening is mental work. When you listen carefully, your brain is collecting data. You're observing tone, emotion, and meaning. You're connecting ideas. You're learning something new. Highly intelligent people understand this. They ask questions. They stay curious. They let others finish. But people who constantly talk miss valuable information. They repeat the same stories. They make assumptions. They misunderstand situations. And over time, this habit creates a dangerous illusion. They believe they know everything, while quietly learning nothing. In meetings, they make poor decisions. In relationships, they miss important signals. In life, they stay stuck at the same level. Because intelligence grows through listening, not talking. And the next habit is even more subtle, but it slowly weakens the brain's ability to adapt. Number 3, resisting new ideas. Automatically. There is a phrase that often reveals low intelligence. We've always done it this way. It sounds harmless, it sounds practical, yet, but underneath it shows mental rigidity. The world is constantly changing. Technology evolves, skills become outdated, new opportunities appear, and intelligent people stay flexible. They test new ideas. They experiment. They stay open even when something feels unfamiliar. But people who resist new ideas automatically protect their comfort zone. They reject change before understanding it. They criticize innovation before trying it. They hold on to old habits even when those habits stop working. You see this in workplaces that fall behind, businesses that fail to adapt, individuals who struggle to grow, not because they lack ability, but because they fear change. And here's the deeper truth. Intelligence is not about knowing everything. It's about being willing to learn something new. But the next habit is even more dangerous because it quietly destroys focus, discipline, and long-term success. Number 2, chasing instant gratification. This habit feels good in the moment, but it slowly weakens the mind. Scrolling endlessly, checking the phone every few minutes, choosing comfort over effort, wanting results immediately. These behaviors seem small, but they train the brain to avoid patience. And patience is a core part of intelligence. Highly intelligent people delay rewards. They work today for results tomorrow. They tolerate boredom. They stay focused even when progress is slow. But people who chase instant gratification struggle with discipline. They quit projects too early. They abandon goals too quickly. They lose focus when things become difficult. And over time, their life becomes a series of unfinished attempts. Half-started plans, broken routines, missed opportunities. Because intelligence isn't just about knowledge. It's about control. Control over attention. Control over emotions. Control over impulses. And the final habit, number 1, is the most powerful of all. It's the one habit that silently blocks growth, destroys relationships, and keeps people stuck for years. Number 1, never questioning yourself. This is the strongest and most dangerous sign of low intelligence. Not asking questions, not seeking knowledge, not making mistakes, but never questioning yourself. Some people move through life with absolute certainty. They believe they are always right. They assume their opinions are facts, and they rarely stop to reflect on their own behavior. At first, this looks like confidence. It looks like strength. But in reality, it's intellectual blindness. Because intelligence grows from self-doubt. Not the unhealthy kind, but the curious kind. The kind that asks, could I be wrong? What am I missing? Is there a better way to do this? Highly intelligent people constantly run internal checks. They review their decisions. They analyze their mistakes. They challenge their own thinking. They don't trust their first conclusion blindly. They test it. They refine it. They improve it. But people who never question themselves stop evolving. They repeat the same habits. They defend the same beliefs. They ignore feedback even when it's helpful. And slowly, their world becomes smaller. Relationships become tense. Opportunities pass by. Growth disappears. Not because they lack potential, but because they close the door to reflection. Here is the quiet truth. The smartest people in the room are not the loudest. They're not the most confident. They're not the ones who claim to know everything. They're the ones who stay curious, who stay humble, who keep asking themselves one simple question: what can I learn next? Small habits shape your mind. Change them and you change your future. Subscribe for more psychology insights.